deal with thy servants.
Deal with thy servants.
So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days.
And proved them 10 days. Okay.
And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer, better in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's
They
meat.
looked even better. The Most High preserved them. Okay. Now, this is Daniel and his brothers growing up in captivity, becoming men. But they're under the king's command. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We know that Daniel became a man of high authority and high stature in this king's court because he interpreted dreams.
You know what's so interesting too, Elder? Look how young they were. But they were taken from their families.
Yeah.
At that age, but they understood who they worshiped and how they were supposed to eat.
Train up a child in the way that he should go, and in the end, he will not depart from it. Now, I'm giving you an example of this in Daniel as a young man, but I want to give you an ultimate example of Daniel as a grown man in the Apocrypha. Prophets, jump down here to verse 17.
Okay. As for these four children, the most High God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams.
Now, this is what the Most High gave Daniel as a child. This is what he will give. We all have a special gift, and the Most High will give us the awakening or the knowledge on how to use that gift, right? So, keep going, prophet.
Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel.
None like Daniel.
Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better, 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus.
Now we're going to go into the first year of King Cyrus. That's when Persia comes on the scene. That's when Persia comes on the scene.
And again, even they kept, see, the thing is, they were 10 times better. Why? Because they kept and they held on to what the Most High, what they had taught from as a child. They didn't let it go. And they didn't partake in the king's appointed meat or his drink. They continued to worship the Most High even up until that day. So when people look at you, when the Most High bless you, when you keep his commandments, when you line up with him, and no matter what people outside say or those who would have a say, you still adhere to what the Most High says, he'll bless you or you'll be found 10 times better.
Prophet, that is true. Chapter 2 in the book of Daniel goes more into Daniel interpreting a dream and he gets blessed and the king blesses him. Now we see the favor with our people throughout the scriptures, even with Joseph in Egypt. Okay, Abraham, Moses, David, everybody that works for the Most High, eventually our enemies will bless us. The scriptures say the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. It's laid up for the righteous. Now, we got the example from childhood to manhood. This is Daniel and his brothers as children, as young men. We know that they were thrown into the den, the fiery den. Okay?
Fiery furnace.
The fiery furnace. They survived that. Okay? The Most High gave them favor even in captivity.
And Daniel was in the lion's den.
Okay? But look, let's get ready to go into the Apocrypha. We see Daniel as a child. Let's go into the Apocrypha and look at Daniel as a man. Let's go into the Apocrypha and we're going into the story of Baal and the dragon. Baal and the dragon. That's in the Apocrypha.
And again, the Apocrypha, if you have a King James Version 1611, your Apocrypha is inside your book. But if in fact you don't, and you would like to have an original account of the King James Version Bible, you should gain an Apocrypha.
Now, in verse 21 in the King James Version Bible says, and Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. Where's that history? Because chapter 2, we're still in Babylon. This is all Babylon.
You mean in the one that they altered?
Right, where they altered, right? Now, if this was still in your Bible today, you can go into that history like we're about to go into now. So we're going into the Apocrypha to look at the history of what happened with Daniel in the years of King Cyrus, right? This is Persia. Prophets, where you at? You in there? You in verse 1? So we're in the Apocrypha, brothers and sisters. Follow along with us. Come on.
And King Astyages Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom.
Okay.
And Daniel conversed with the king.
He's still conversing with the king.
And was honored above all his friends still. Now, the Babylons had an idol called Baal. And there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it.
Now, look at the ignorance of some of these people here. Now, remember now, this is an iniquity here, right? The kings of this day and time, they bow down to worship idols. Our people do it now. The Pope will be considered like a king. He bows down to an idol, a statue. All right? And I'm looking at this now, even in the Apocrypha, saying it's idiotic, but it's real life.
It's defilement of the first commandment.
It is. Come on, prophet.
But Daniel worshipped his own God.
But his own God. I'm going to worship my own God.
And that's it. And the king said unto him, why does not thou worship Baal?
Come on.
Is that Baal?
That's Baal, yeah.
The same one in there?
Baal, yeah, that is.
Who answered and said, because I may not worship idols.
Because I may not worship idols. Thou shalt have no other God before me, says the Most High.
Because I may not worship idols made with hands. That's the first commandment. But the living God.
The living God.
Who hath created the heaven and the earth.
Okay.
And hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God?
Oh, now this king was thinking that this Baal was a living God. He thought this thing had power. Okay? This was a statue, an idol. Right? But it was some trickery going on. Remember now, brothers and sisters, when you get into the word of God, the Most High reveals stuff to you. You're a lawyer of the truth. That's what it is.
That's right.
You become a lawyer of the truth. And your eyes become open. Those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. All right? Let them go ahead, come forth. So come on, prophets, come on.
Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day?
Okay, okay.
Then Daniel smiled and said,
what Daniel do?
He smiled and said, O king, be not deceived.
Be not deceived.
For this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything.
Wow. Now, Daniel is a grown man. Come on.
So the king was wroth, and called for his priests, and said unto them, if you tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, you shall die.
Ye shall die. What's going on? So he called his little magicians, right? We know earlier in life, Daniel put to shame the magicians, right? When he was younger. He's still doing it. We're called to do it. That was his gift. Come on, prophet.
Verse 9, but if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die.
Okay.
For he has spoken blasphemy against Baal.
Oh, it's blasphemy against. You know, I'm not afraid to say it. You got an idol, it's a dumb idol.
That's right. It's the first commandment. Come on, people. And Daniel said unto the king, let it be according to thy word. He wasn't startled. He said, let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of Baal were 70. So that's 70. Beside their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Baal. So Baal's priest said, lo, we go out. But thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast and seal it with thine own signet.
Now this was a custom of what they did, right? They would put food and wine out in front of the statue, and then they would close up the temple and give this to the idol as a form of worship. Okay, and every day the king would go back in and find that the food and the wine was drunken up. It was gone, right? So that's a fake thing. You're thinking that the idol is eating it, right? Right? Come on, prophet.
I don't know how. And tomorrow, when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Baal hath eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us.
Now they say that this is the priest of Baal. This is his people here. Okay, come on.
And they little regarded, and they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance.
What? Mine say is it privy?
Privy means private.
Okay.
Yeah, privy entrance.
Wait a minute, Papa. What you say under the what?
Under the table.
Under the table?
Yeah.
So there was a table.
Trickery.
Yeah, there was a table that was set up with food and wine and all kind of stuff on it, right? And these people had a trap door away into the temple under the table.
Right.
The priest was doing this.
Houdini.
Come on.
For under the table they had made a private entrance whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone.
They go to detective work. They go Daniel now. Look at the wisdom. Remember now, he was trained in science too.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So he told his servants to bring what, prophet?
To bring ashes.
Come on.
To bring the ashes, and those they strewed, when they throw them throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. So basically they did this after all those other little priests left.
Right.
So they only did it in front of him so that he would know that it was there. They would know, so that they couldn't get around it. Verse 15. Now in the night came the priests with their wives.
In the what?
In the night.
They do stuff in the night, right? Come on.
Came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do.
Because ain't no one person eating up all this food. Okay?
And did eat and drink up all. In the morning betime the king arose. By the time the king arose, and Daniel with him, and the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole?
Okay, hold on, prophet. Every night or every other time they put the food out, they having the party. They having the feast. They living it up. Christ said, look, woe to these Pharisees and Sadducees that cause my people to err. Look, watch the church folks. They like to sit up in the upper rooms. Okay? Woe to you, teaching my people to eat pork even in the synagogue, even in the church. A big meal while the king sleep. Come on now.
All right. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole?
Okay.
And he said, yea, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Baal, and with thee is no deceit at all.
He geek. Look, hey, the food's ate up, the wine is gone. Baal is real. He look a little bit deeper. Look a little bit deeper.
Then laughed Daniel and held the king that he should not go in, and said, Behold now the pavement, and mark well whose footsteps are those. And the king said, I see the footsteps
of what?
Men, women, and children. And then the king was angry.
It's only a certain number of folks that was in there, men, women, and children. The king said he seen what?
He said, I see footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry and took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privacy doors where they came in, and consumed such things as were upon the table.
Now this was a horrible thing, brothers and sisters. You was getting caught doing this. All right? These people worship idols. They believed in this. When you mess with people's beliefs and you step on their beliefs, things happen to you. We know what happened in Iraq.
They were being directly deceived by these priests. Well, the king was.
Right, the king was, and the subjects of the kingdom, because the people followed what the king did. But not Daniel. Come on.
Therefore, the king slew them and delivered Baal into Daniel's power, who destroyed him as his temple.
Look, this is
his temple.
This is an example of Satan being delivered into the hands of Yeshua. He's going to be destroyed. He's going to be cast down to the bottomless pit, on the sides of the pit. He's going to be cast out in utter darkness. He's going to be delivered into the hands of Yeshua, the Messiah, the King of Kings. This is a foreshadow of Christ getting all victory, all power. You have no power. Come on, prophet.
And the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou... Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Okay. Who destroyed him and his temple. Daniel destroyed him and his temple in verse 23. And in that same place, there was a great dragon.
A great what?